Hi guys, welcome back to my channel where today I have a confession. I broke my low buy. It was like a low or no buy. My husband and I are on a budget, and usually when I bring in new palettes, they are coming off of Poshmark or Mercari where I sell palettes, and so any new palettes are just purchased with the balance that runs within the app. But this time I dipped into a personal bank account, and I'll tell you why. But first, if you've never been here before, hello, my name is Rachel. I'm a homeschooling stay-at-home mom. I love to play with eyeshadow, but especially colorful eyeshadow, and I've been uploading 3 or 4 videos every week. It's all eyeshadow related content, so if you like what you see and you'd like to see more, I hope you'll consider subscribing before you leave. Quick note, I apologize for my hair. I am just out of bed. I didn't even brush my hair since yesterday's shower because my kid was sick all day. I'm not feeling amazing right now, but I am so excited to play with this palette, so let's get going. Alright guys, I'm going to card above a video for you where I'm talking about all of the palettes that I considered when I was looking to buy a red palette. Now you guys know what I got because you already saw the thumbnail, but the point is, I considered a lot of palettes before I finally settled on the BH Cosmetics Cherry on Top. But that was my second choice. My number one choice was Still Pretty from September Rose Cosmetics. I thought that palette was prettier, honestly, and I thought it had a better assortment of shades and ranges, and I didn't know the quality, but I did know the BH quality, and I couldn't get Still Pretty for a good price. It was either pay off the website and pay full price or get it secondhand, but there was only one listing secondhand, and the seller, after 3 attempts, they just never got back to me. So I thought, well, hey, what if the seller has died or fallen off the face of the earth, and I finally agree to pay the price they're asking and I just buy it now, and then I wait several weeks for them to not ship it and then get refund. It was a little bit too much, so I waited. And finally, September Rose had a sale. Now they were offering the Still Pretty palette for 50% off. And so between that and international shipping, my total outlay was still less than the full price of the palette. So I was okay with it. I have the Still Pretty palette from September Rose Cosmetics. This arrived yesterday, and I'm just really excited to play with it. Like I said in my intro, I'm not feeling great right now. Hopefully that'll get better as the day goes on. It's still pretty early morning. But I want to play with this palette. It's so pretty. So let me show it to you. Comes in this little sleeve, and this is what the palette looks like. I think it's really, really lovely. I love that there's a nice range of pinky, purpley red tones. We've got a beautiful inner corner highlight right here, a couple of really lovely shimmers. And I will say, I don't know the quality of September Rose, but I've heard that they're good. Some of the YouTubers I've watched say, you know, their Slush palette is great, and a couple of the other ones. Not many people talk about the Still Pretty palette, at least within the circles that I'm running or watching. Not many people talk about Still Pretty, but Angelica Nyqvist did do one Get Ready With Me where she ended up using this palette, and she said that it was the good formula that she's used to from September Rose. So I think the palette is beautiful. I know it's not fully red, but it has some red, and then it has other colors that work, and I just think it's really, really pretty. I've been excited about this one, and so I'm stoked to play with it. Let's get going. I always prime my eyes first. I use the Glamlight Icing Primer. This is a white color. It's the shade White Frosting. I feel like I'm in a little bit of a hurry right now, and I don't know why. I think mentally I'm trying to get done before my little one wakes up. She's been sick for several days. She has RSV, I think. It has not been confirmed or diagnosed, but there's a little boy at church who was coughing all over her, and the next day he was diagnosed with RSV. So she was already slightly under the weather at that point, and then when he started coughing everywhere, I was like, okay, so I'm just gonna wait for the coughing to start now. And it eventually did, but not bad. Like, I've been chatting with his mom, and he has been much worse than she's gotten, and she, I think, is, well, both of them, I think, are on the upswing now. She was fever-free all day yesterday, except for maybe one little time when we were cuddling, but it could have just been that we were cuddling. I don't think she would have gotten a fever for 10 or 20 minutes and then it have gone away. I suppose it's possible, but not very likely. Anyway, so she's been sleeping well at nighttime, but she's not been napping well. And yesterday was tiring for both of us because she didn't nap the entire day. She's 1.5. She needs a nap anyway, or 2, but she didn't nap the whole day. And the fact that she was sick was like, come on. It was so tiring. It was tiring. I ended up staying with her, like cuddling or holding her almost the whole day. So I got nothing done around the house. Chores were falling behind, and that was frustrating, but it was getting cuddles. So the colors in this palette are just really beautiful. They're really beautiful. I'm very excited about this. I'm not sure which direction I want to go. I kind of want to play with the reds because it was part of my red palette considerations. But I'm not wearing anything that's really red today, although I may want to grab this red shimmer. So I think I'm going to go like a purple pink root and then a red shimmer and see how that looks. I have a dense blending brush from e.l.f. I'm going to start with the shade Calla Lily, and I'm going to lay that in my outer corner. So this is the first time that I'm trying September Rose Cosmetics at all. I feel like this palette is more popular in the like the black community. When I see pictures of people on Instagram using it, it's almost always a woman with very dark skin. I think that September Rose is black woman owned, so I mean that makes sense. And these colors can look really, really striking on darker skin tones. But I almost never see anybody with lighter skin using it. So I don't know. So far this shadow is beautiful. Beautiful pigmentation. Let me see how it blends out. I'm going to grab a smaller and, not denser, a smaller and pinched blending brush. And I want to take this shade Primrose. Isn't Primrose a nice name? I don't know. It's a pretty word, isn't it? I've got Primrose on this brush and I'm going on top of the edge of this pink. I don't think this is going to be light enough to blend it out, but it might be. May need to grab Camellia. I don't like it when my blend reaches my eyebrow, so I try to keep the colors a little bit lower when I start them, because when you blend out, you go high. Right, it's blending together nicely. I still think Primrose is too dark. A little bit too dark, so I'm going to color switch this brush and grab Camellia. And I'll put Camellia on the edge of Primrose, and I'll buff that out in wider circles, or wider swipes rather. Still trying not to touch my eyebrow. Sometimes I succeed, and sometimes I don't. I've got a blending brush here that's clean, and I'm just buffing it all out. That's blended out quite nicely. That's pretty. Okay, I think just to deepen the outer corner a little bit more, but just a little, I'm going to take a pinched and dense blending brush and grab the shade Cherry Blossom. This is their deepest red matte, and I'm going to place this just in the outer corner. When you lay a red matte on top of a pinky purple matte, you still get more of a pink tone. It tends to pull out the pinker tones of the red, but because this is a darker shade, it's still going to deepen it. There's no other darker shade in the palette. There's one dark red, which is what I'm using now, and there's a dark purple, which is what I already used, and then there's a really dark pink as well. So it kind of covers all the bases. So that's pretty. Okay, I want to try this red shimmer now. This is kind of moving right along, isn't it? I don't know. I feel excited, and I think that's making me move a little more quickly. Also, I've only done one eye. Flat Seer shader brush. I'm going to dip into the shade Zinnia. This is the red shimmer. Oh, it's kind of mushy and soft. I'm pushing down on it in the pan. It's kind of pillowy. I want to put this on dry just because I want to see how it performs dry, although I expect that I'll spray it next. But I do want to put it on dry and see what it does. So I'm going to lay it in the center of my lid. Oh, that's beautiful. That is such a pretty shimmer. It's definitely red, but it absolutely has some pink tone in it. Oh, that's pretty. I think I'm going to keep the inner third of my lid clean though, because I think I want to grab one more shimmer. I'm just like dipping into all the colors. I've been excited about this palette. Can you tell? I have been excited. I wanted it for quite a while. And I feel like I settled for the Cherry on Top palette. And I'm not complaining. That's a good palette. One of the reasons I settled on that one of the several reasons, was that if I decided that I didn't want it after a time, it would be easy to resell because it's a Sweet Shop palette. Same brush, color switched. Now I want to take the shade Florentina. This one I'm going to spray just because I saw how the other one performed dry. It didn't perform badly, but I do want to spray it because I just like to spray my shimmers. I like the control it gives me, and it usually gives a bit more of a high shine. So Florentina, I'm laying down in the inner corner and blending out to meet that Zinnia shade, the red shimmer. Florentina is sort of a bronzy color. Anyway, I got Cherry on Top because I figured it'll be easy to resell if I ever decide to. I found it for a good price. It was still a great palette. I knew the formula. It worked well with the other Sweet Shop palettes I have. It was just, it seemed to make sense at the time. But then when I saw this Still Pretty sale, I was like, oh, yes, it's time. I was really excited about this palette, and so far it's working beautifully. With the small pinched blending brush that I used before to help buff out this outer edge, I want to take the shade Azalea, which is the hot pink matte, or maybe even a little darker than hot pink. I'm going to run this in the outer lower lash line. And then I'll color switch it and go back into Camellia, which is the very light peachy toned pink matte, and run that on the rest of the lower lash line. So I've divided it in half. The obvious inner corner highlight with a small pencil brush is the shade called White Lotus. I will spray this one as well and place this right here at the inner corner. Ooh, that's pretty. A white matte there would be pretty too. A white matte is always pretty. A white matte is always a good inner corner highlight. You cannot go wrong with a white matte. Even for like a black smoky eye, put a white matte on the inner corner, you're good to go. The colors are super pretty. I want to bring a little bit more purple into that outer corner, so I'm just going back to my original dense blending brush and grabbing Calla Lily and tapping it into place. I don't want to lay down so much that I have to re-blend it. I just want to put it on top of the area that's already blended to deepen it out a little bit. And also bring in a smidge more purple because of my shirt. All right, that is the eye look. This is going to look even better with black mascara and liner. I will choose a waterline color and then I'll come back to the camera to show you guys how it ended up looking. Okay, here is the final look. I think it's just beautiful. I will say that the two shimmers that I used, which are the more red and orangey toned ones, do remind me of the shimmers from the Cherry on Top palette. If I had used more of the pink shimmers, then obviously I would have gotten a different look. But like the mattes themselves do not remind me of Cherry on Top. I think I'll probably do a really quick video. I'm not going to do it right now because I need to get on with my day, but I think I'll do a quick video at some point where I compare the two palettes and swatch them out, because when I looked at them side by side, about 6 shadows within the Cherry on Top palette out of the 8, I think I could find easily in the Still Pretty palette. So I'm just curious to see how they compare. Still Pretty may replace Cherry on Top. Maybe it won't. Maybe I'll keep them both. Anyway, I think the eye look is beautiful. I love the way that it started off with the purple and pinks and then it sort of went into the red. I think it's lovely. I did an eyeliner, but I didn't wing it out because I didn't feel like it. And then I did put on some face products, actually. Using this palette that a subscriber gifted me. The last time I used it, I think I grabbed this shade here, which ended up, in my opinion, being too yellow for me. I think that I needed more of a cool tone bronzer, so I grabbed this one today, and I do think it looks a little bit better, a little bit more of a match to my skin tone. Maybe not perfect, but better. Then I've got a Mulan blush from ColourPop in the shade Matchmaker. I don't know if you can see that at all. I have a highlighter from BH Cosmetics on my cheeks here. Well, don't just tell you which one I used. I used this one here called Bubbly. And on my lips, I'm wearing a ColourPop lip oil in the shade Hey. So there you go. That is everything on my face. I think the eye looks lovely, and I am going to have a lot of fun wearing it today. I am struggling seeing the true colors because I have very bad lighting in the morning. I've just got my ring light and a lamp and no sunlight anywhere. So it's not really until later in the day that I can get a good idea of the actual colors in a look and how they really look on my face. But hopefully I like it. Usually when I do the editing later on, I go, okay, that looked all right. But I don't know. It takes until later in the day before I can really see. Anyway, that's it. I'm done talking. I have had a lot of fun playing with this eyeshadow palette. I look forward to playing with it more. Thank you for being with me and for hanging out. I hope you liked the look. I hope you liked the video. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave if you want to see more. And until I see you next time, I hope you have a great day.